All right, so here's your warm-up for today. You have one title to add to your title page today. On pages 99 and 100, we are going to do some problems and notes on solving for a side. So now when you have an unknown on the side of a triangle, you should be able to use SOHCAHTOA to solve for that missing side. Okay, so we are going to start on page 99 with this piece. As soon as it pops up here. Okay? Well, bless you. What you're going to do is you're going to cut out this big rectangle first. Cut out the big rectangle.
Oh my God.
Once you cut out that big rectangle, we're going to fold this in half. So it looks like this. And then you're going to cut yourself 3 flaps. Because we have 3 trig ratios, so each flap is going to represent a trig ratio. Again, your key to doing this is to memorize that SOHCAHTOA that I gave you yesterday. That tells you exactly how to set up your trig ratios. If you have that, you can do it all. No questions asked, no problems. Okay, we're going to eventually glue this in on this side of the page on the left. Okay, we're also going to write the steps down the right-hand side of the page as we do them.
So do we glue it in?
I'm not going to because we need to draw on the inside of the flap and I don't like to draw over top of the crease. So I'm just going to leave space to glue this in. But by all means, if you would like to glue it in first, that is fine. I will not stop you. Jasmine and her precise cutting here.
No, who's done?
I can't remember who it was last semester. They literally, everything had to be perfect or they'd like have an anxiety attack.
Oh, I think I know who you're talking about. I had them in class too. Oh my. But like they were so organized, weren't they? Yeah.
Oh, man.
was the only one who played.
Okay, so my first trig ratio had to do with sine. So that had to do with the first part of my phrase. So katoa. How did I spell so?
S-O-H.
S-O-H. So S-O-H. That means the sine of my angle, remember yesterday we called it theta. So whatever my angle measurement it replaces theta. To solve that, we set it equal to your opposite side, whatever value is there, over your hypotenuse side, whatever value is there. Okay? This is how we solve when you have an opposite and a hypotenuse. So, for example, on the inside of that flap, on the left-hand side, I want you to draw this triangle. I want you to open this up, bless you.
Thank you.
And on the left-hand side, I want you to draw a right triangle that looks like this. I want you to label this side with a variable. I want you to label this side as 5.6 yards. And I want you to label this angle down here as 41 degrees.
Isn't label a letter? Okay.
Huh?
Isn't the label like a letter?
It can be. Okay. Your first step to solving this. Step 1. Find your reference angle. In this case, it's actually going to be a number. Okay? That's not your unknown. We're looking for an unknown side. So, my reference angle is 41. Step 2. I remember you're writing the steps down the right-hand side of page 99. Step 2. Label your sides according to your reference angle. Label your sides according to your reference angle. So, according to 41, side X is what side? Is that my opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse? What is X? What is this side here?
Oh, that's the
Hypotenuse.
That's your hypotenuse, okay? It's straight across from your right angle. This is your hypotenuse, okay? 5.6 is what side then? Is that opposite or adjacent?
That's
Is it touching your reference angle? Always ask yourself that question.
Yes.
Is it touching my reference angle? If I cover my reference angle, is it touching it?
no.
No, so this is my what side?
Opposite.
Opposite. Okay. Whoa. Light went off. Okay, so we've got hypotenuse and opposite. Step 3 then. You need to pick sine, cosine, or tangent, depending on your sides. Okay, we're going to now pick sine, cosine, or tangent depending on your sides. So think about SOHCAHTOA. Which one dealt with opposite and hypotenuse?
Oh,
I'm going to fight with this thing today. If you need to write it here, we can write it here. So we've got SOHCAHTOA.
oh, it's which one?
It sounds like you're trying in Spanish. Sin cosine.
Okay. So which one deals with O and H?
Which one?
The first one. Your first one, is that sine, cosine, or tangent? So
Sine.
what does the S stand for? Sine, good. Okay, so our next step, once we decide, we need to set up the trig ratio. Okay, so step 4, set up your trig ratio. So SOH means sine of my angle. My angle is 41. So sine of 41 equals, O comes before H, so my O goes on top. So I've got 5.6 on my opposite side. Over, my hypotenuse goes in the bottom. That side is X. And what we're going to do, if you guys end up taking honors chemistry, you will do this a lot in honors chemistry. Okay, we're going to set up a proportion. So anytime you have anything and there's nothing in the denominator, there is always an unwritten 1 there. Okay, just think about it. 2 divided by 1 is 2. 17 divided by 1 is 17. So there's always that unwritten 1 there because it doesn't change it. So now we're going to cross multiply because it's a proportion. So X times sine of 41. So it's X times the sine of 41. Anytime you're multiplying against sine, cosine, or tangent, whatever you're multiplying, put it out front. Okay, so you're not getting it confused with your angle. X times the sine of 41 equals 1 times 5.6. Okay. How do I get X by itself right now? If I have X times the sine of 41?
You subtract.
This is X
divide.
times,
You
so we do
divide?
what? We divide. Opposite of times or opposite of multiply is to divide. So we're going to divide both sides by the sine of 41. So X is going to equal. Okay, I'm going to show you how to plug this into your calculator. Because 1, we need to change it to degrees instead of radians. So we need to fix that first. Yes,
How
ma'am.
many math credits do you need to graduate?
4. You need math 1, 2, and 3, and you need a senior math.
There was
Which
a question like this on the test.
You have your,
I'm gonna take this period with you
that's fine. Come back to discrete with me.
because I kind of don't want math, like calculus.
Okay, so in your calculator, let me exit out of this. I need my calculator. First thing I want you to do is go to, Go to mode. Okay, it's right next to your second button. Okay. The third space down, you see radian and degree. When you get your calculator for your final exam, it will always be in radian mode. The first thing I want you to do is to go into mode and change this to degree. Anything you do, you would scroll over and hit enter, so degree is now highlighted. You only have to do this once. It stays as degree until I reset the calculator or you reset the calculator. So always make sure it's in degree mode first. Once you do that, second quit. Okay. So now, we said my problem is 5.6 divided by 2 rows above your numbers. You see sine, cosine, and tangent. Well, we're dealing with sine, so we're dividing by sine. And the degree is 41. Close your parentheses and hit equals.
What? So that's what I always wondered what they meant.
Yeah,
but I
me
never.
too.
Welcome to Trig.
I was like, what is
Yes.
sin, cos, and tan? I was like,
If you actually take AFM, you will learn how to graph all of these and what they look like. We're only using them to solve for angles and sides of a triangle.
Oh,
But yeah,
that makes sense now.
right.
this all has to do with the unit circle too. You'll learn about the unit circle in Math 3. Okay, so x equals 8.54, and this is in yards. 8.54, and this is in yards. Okay. We have to add the last couple of steps that we just did without adding them. Step number 5 is make a proportion. Step number 6 is cross multiply. And step number 7 is isolate or solve for the variable. So we just did all of those. We set up the trig ratio. We put sine of 41 over 1 to create a proportion. We then cross multiplied. Then we isolated and solved for the variable. Questions? These steps will work every time. So you have this page to go back and look at. Everybody have, I got it. I'm still ready.
Do you need your glasses to see far? Me too.
Yeah, if I take them off, I'm like blind. I can see that there's people in here, but I cannot make out any of your faces.
That's how blind you are.
It's awful.
I don't know, like I could take it off and I could still see like the people. I just can't see
Like I can see that you're a person sitting there, but I couldn't tell that that's Jasmine and you're Anna. All right. Inside the next flat. So open up your second flat. And I want you to draw this triangle. Same looking triangle. We've got a right angle down here. This time I'm going to make this angle at the top 68 degrees. I'm going to make this X. And I'm going to make this 6.8. Okay. We're going to walk through it step by step, just like we did with the last one. Sorry, that was bending and bothering me because you couldn't see it very well. Step by step, just like the last one. So in this triangle, this is my reference angle. Again, it's the one with the number degree or the one with the variable. This time we're solving for a side, so it should always be a degree in there. So now that we know our reference angle, we must label our sides according to my reference angle. What side is X?
The opposite. No, wait.
No, the bottom one is the opposite.
Cover your angle. Okay,
Yeah.
so if my bottom one's my opposite, what does that make this side? Adjacent, perfect. That's my adjacent side. What side is this then?
Hypotenuse.
Hypotenuse.
So quick.
So, SOHCAHTOA.
Cos.
Ka. I'm dealing with A and H. So we're doing CAH. If it's Ka, what does the C stand for? Remember, this is one of our trig ratios. We have 3 trig ratios.
The cos.
Cosine, okay? The COS. So to set this one up, we do the cosine because I'm dealing with A and H. The cosine of my angle. Again, it's always cosine of your angle. That is equal to, A comes first, so X goes there. H comes second, so that goes in the bottom, 6.8. Set up a proportion, so we're going to put this over 1.
Now you just cross multiply.
Now we cross multiply. 1 times X is X. And then I have 6.8 times the cosine of 68. Well, X is already by itself this time, so all you need to do is plug in that right-hand side in your calculator. So 6.8 times the cosine of 68. And what do we get? What does X equal? 2.55. Okay, remember that 7 rounds that 4 up to a 5. So your answer here is 2.55. So the most difficult part is 1, labeling your sides, and 2, deciding whether you're using sine, cosine, and tangent. Both should run like butter. Okay, so my last one. We need this triangle. I'm going to face it the other way this time.
Does it really matter what way they're facing?
Nope. Because that doesn't change whether your sides are opposite, adjacent. Okay, I want this side to be my variable this time, and I want this to be 9.2. Okay, so what is my reference angle this time?
The 67.
The 67. Okay, so circle it, highlight it, whatever you want to do. Now we need to label our sides according to our reference angle. Easiest way, take your finger and put it over top of it.
The bottom one is the height.
The 9.2 is the opposite.
9.2 is the opposite. That's the only side that doesn't touch my reference angle.
And X is the congruent. I mean,
The adjacent.
The adjacent side.
And the other one is the height.
Okay, so I have opposite and adjacent. I still have a hypotenuse, but there's nothing there, so we don't use it. Okay, we have to go by our unknown and the side that we know. So I have O and A. Which one of my trig ratios deals with O and A? Tangent. TOA, TOA. So T stands for tangent. So tangent of my angle, which you told me was 67, equals what goes on top?
9.2.
9.2. It's O before A, so O goes on top. My X goes on the bottom.
And then the 1 under tan.
Put the 1 under tan. And let's cross multiply. 1 times 9.2, 9.2. And we have X times the tangent of 67. X times the tangent of 67. This time, my X is not by itself. How do I get rid of tangent of 67?
Divided by 9.2.
I need to get rid of tangent of 67 on this side. I don't divide by 9.2.
Oh, you divide by tangent.
Right.
67.
We divide by tangent of 67. Okay, so X equals, plug in that side into your calculator. 9.2 divided by the tangent of 67. And what do we get? Make sure you're rounding 2 decimal places. Round properly. So what does X equal?
391.
3.91, perfect. 3 and 91 hundredths. When you're finished, I want you to flip back to the front, and we're going to put on the front like we did at the top. So means the sine of the angle equals opposite over hypotenuse. This one we did ca. So cosine of my angle equals adjacent over hypotenuse. And finally, the bottom one was TOA. So the tangent of my angle equals the opposite side divided by the adjacent. I'm going to put the J before the D. And that can glue in on the left-hand side of page 99. We have one more page in our notebook, and then it's practice, practice, practice. And I will give you your homework. And then when you finish that, you may continue to work on your projects.
When you finish what?
When you finish your homework, you can continue to work on your project. Like I said, I understand it's a big project and you'll have questions, so I want to make sure I give you time to work on it in class. But we also need to continue with what we're doing to make sure we fit everything in. Okay, so you're just going to glue this down the left-hand side of page 99 right next to your steps.
Let's understand the motto of Mr. What's his name? Baldwin. I forgot his name. What was the name?
Not Mr. Denny, it's crap. What is his name?
The one that was in the 8th grade home. Everybody forgot.
I can't think of his name right now.
Me either. Oh,
Harrison.
yeah,
Harrison.
Mr. Harrison. I told Mr. Harrison, why didn't they do this? Because I said, like, he said he liked it, but that the kids over there can't keep up with the things, that they find composition notebooks everywhere.
Yep. I didn't like Mr. Harrison.
because I don't like this.
I failed his class all the way. Huh? I didn't like Mr. Harrison. I failed his class all the way.
See,
But I still like him. I really like. I like all my teachers.
anyway.
All right, we've got one more page to do in our notebook, which is this one. Finding a side length. So we've got 3 more, and then we're going to do some whiteboard practice.
Oh,
Okay, so taking a look at this first triangle here. What is my reference angle?
73.
73. Right here. Okay, so let's label our sides according to 73. What side is X?
Opposite. Oh, no.
Adjacent.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, it's touching. This is adjacent. What side is 34?
The opposite.
The hypotenuse. It's across from my right angle.
And then the other side is the leg.
Okay. Don't use the word leg anymore. Opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. Okay. Trig ratios, opposite, adjacent, or hypotenuse. So I have adjacent and hypotenuse. What am I using? Sine, cosine, or tangent? SOHCAHTOA.
So,
Ka. C-A-H. So C represents what? Cosine. Cosine of my angle. Cosine of 73 equals. What goes on top? My X or my 34? Ka. Think about how you spell your A. Okay, so my X goes on top, my 34 on the bottom. What's next?
And then put the 1 underneath.
Put it over 1. And to solve, we must
cross multiply.
cross multiply. 1 times X
Equals
is X. And the other side, 34 times the cosine of 73. What do we get? X equals
9.9. No, you don't round it up because it's 0. Or do you?
no, don't round it up because it's 0. So it should be 9.94. Okay, 9 and 94 hundredths. 2 decimal places. The 0 doesn't do anything. My next one. What's my reference angle?
The 18.
The 18. Okay, side X is what?
The H word.
Hypotenuse. Side 11
Is the opposite.
is the opposite. It's not touching my reference angle. So now I've got O and H. SOHCAHTOA.
No, it's the S. Sin.
Oh my god.
It's your S. Jasmine, think about it. SOHCAHTOA. Think about how it's spelled.
Oh.
SOHCAHTOA. O and H deals with sine. So we're doing sine of 18. What goes on top this time?
11.
11, because it's O before H. Why am I just putting an H? That should be an 11. Divided by what goes in the bottom?
8.
Your variable, okay? Your H, which is your variable.
Divided by 1.
Place this over 1. Cross multiply. 1 times 11.
11.
11. X times the sine of 18. X isn't all alone now. We need to get rid of something with X. How do I do that?
Divided by sin 18.
Divide by the sine of 18. So you will now put that into your calculator. 11 divided by the sine of 18. Okay. What do we get?
35.60.
Good, 35.60. Your 6 will round your 9 up. When your 9 turns into a 10, that rounds your 5 up to a 6. finally, my last one, what's my reference angle? 57. Jasmine, this is all you. You ready for this?
Isn't it?
X is what?
Um,
Ask yourself, is it touching my angle or
It's
not
adjacent.
touching? It's adjacent. Okay?
so on the bottom is opposite, so it's
Bottom is your opposite. So, ka, toa.
So
With toa. Okay? So, toa means tangent. Tangent of 57 equals toa. What goes on top?
13.
Elijah. What goes on top? Toa. T-O-A. Which one of these is going on top? Huh? The 13. Good. Okay. T-O-A means opposite goes on top, adjacent on the bottom. Let's place this over 1. So we get 1 times 13, which is 13. And x times the tangent of 57. Barley, how do I get x by itself now?
Divide by.
Perfect. We divide by the tangent of 57. So x equals 13 divided by the tangent of 57. And we get what?
8.44.
8.44. Questions? Okay. This goes in on page 100. We have reached the 100th page in our notebooks, ladies and gents. Fantastical. It's like a happy, happy day. We should have celebrated. You just say
How many
hump
days do we
day?
have left of school?
That was yesterday. It's Thursday. It ain't hump day no more. Hump day was
Friday,
yesterday.
Junior.
And tomorrow is the best day of the week. Friday.
Today's Friday, Junior.
Monday.
Best day of the week's Monday?
No.
I was gonna say, I've never ever heard a kid say that in my life.
Right. I think the only day Monday is good is whenever we're on summer vacation.
Yep.